So first of all, I wanted to thank Manfredo, Gitzo, B&H, everybody, especially my very dear friend Joe Matza. See this guy in the back? He is amazing, so, and a good cook. I'm very excited to be here. I don't see anybody I've ever seen before. Has anybody ever met me and I just forgot? I'm bad with names, good with faces. A long time ago? You know what? I know that. Where was it? Yes. No? Calumet? No? No, you look familiar though. Anyways, if you wanted to come closer, now is the time, because how can you actually see me doing silly things? Is everybody comfortable back here? Okay, you are? Okay. All right. So my name is Sarah Silver. I'm an ex-dancer, but I was never good at it. And is there anybody here who has ever done dance? Anybody? Yes. Okay. Well, physically dance though. You ever dance? Not even at a wedding? No? Okay. Oh, you're that guy. You're that guy at the wedding sitting there not dancing. Okay. And then has anybody ever done dance photography? Yeah? Oh, not that many. Does anybody like to go see the ballet? Okay. It doesn't matter what your thing is. Whatever your thing is what you love. And I found a way to take what I was bad at, which was dancing, and turn it into a career, okay? So for instance, what do you love to do? Photography. Tennis. Swimming. Do you ever think of taking tennis photography?
I do.
Okay, good. All right, what do you like to do?
I like to travel.
Travel. Do you take travel photography?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. Does anybody have a passion they don't actually shoot? Like, for instance, does somebody like to cook and they don't take pictures of their own food? Does somebody really like dogs and they don't take a picture of their dogs? Okay, well, the reason why I'm mentioning this is because shooting what you love instantaneously infuses this passion into your work. You ever notice when, okay, who recently had to shoot something they absolutely hated? What was it?
Just a red carpet.
A red carpet?
Yeah.
Okay, so, okay, and it's hard to do what you don't feel passionate about, right? What, somebody else was raising their hand, shaking their head.
Actually, tennis. I went to the US.
You didn't like the tennis?
I don't like it.
You should switch places with her. She's like, what are you talking about? What? And then, what was it? High school reunion. Oh, I won't even go to my own high school reunion. Okay. I get it. And lots of times, by the way, this is Michelle. She's driving the computer today. She is my current intern. Say hi. She has learned what you do when you don't love what you're shooting and still push through. And then what happens when you really love what you're shooting. But you have no choice between what you love and what you don't love when you're shooting for money, right? If somebody throws some money at you and they say, make this look amazing, you're going to say, well, I don't like it. Well, okay, some people might say I don't like it. I mean, for instance, I don't shoot still life, okay? I have no aptitude for still life. You put a box in front of my camera and I'm probably going to mess it up, all right? That's okay, but for the most part, when it comes to human beings, because I shoot people, I don't get to choose between I don't really want to shoot mascara, but I like lip gloss. Or I don't really want to shoot this fall tweed story, but I really like polka dots, okay? You don't get to choose. So one of the things that happens when you're shooting for money, right, is to find a way to really enjoy it, even if you don't like tennis, and you do like tennis. You don't like, right? Okay. So very quickly, show of hands. Who shoots fashion? Let's just start with the easy thing. Fashion, beauty, okay. Cars. Cars is the wild card. Nobody ever says cars when I ever lecture. I want to meet a car photographer. Wait, was that I'm playing with my hair or you do shoot cars? She's like, no, I don't shoot cars. Okay, what do we got? Kids? Anybody shoot kids? Weddings? Portrait? Yeah, food? Did I say food? Okay. Who gets really full on a food shoot?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, that's hard, especially when you're shooting desserts, right? What else? Have I forgotten? Sport. Oh my God, sports. Who shoots sports? Okay. Who likes to shoot things frozen in space? Yeah. All right. Who hates moving things? I just want to know who I should tell to leave. No. All right. Hmm? Painting. Oh, panning. Okay. But speed, right? Okay. So being an ex-dancer, I'm terrible. I'm not flexible. I wasn't very good at it. But I loved that moment of time, right? So if you like sports, if you like motion, if you like shooting NASCAR, whatever, when you see a moment, and I would go to ballet class or I'd go to dance performances, and I would play this game, which was, where's the best moment to shoot? And I would sit there and I would see an infinite amount of stills in my head, okay? And that's kind of how I trained myself. Because not just was I wasn't a very good dancer, but I could understand this motion and movement thing. Hit next. So, all right, just a quick background. So I was a bad dancer, then I went to university. I have a degree in Middle East Studies. It's totally useless, but really interesting because I found myself in the Middle East shooting as a documentary photographer. Anybody do photojournalism? Okay, again, another moment, right? Israel, Jordan, Egypt. I was in Ukraine for a while. That's not really the Middle East, but we'll stretch. So documentary photography is also finding a moment. What else? And who said they were portrait photographers? Okay. So that portrait moment, finding that moment between you and me, when you have that essence of you, like that, there's a second sense inside of a photographer, right? That brilliant moment when you hit the shutter. Okay. Cartier-Bresson called it the decisive moment. Thank you. I like you. Okay? But it's true, because what is the difference between the moment you hit the shutter and every other moment? Well, it's your choice, but also hopefully you got the good picture, right? So, all right, I'm a terrible dancer. I'm in grad school for Middle East, I'm in undergrad for Middle East Studies, and I decide after doing a year working as a photojournalist, I'm gonna go back to grad school for photography. And during my time in grad school, I shot this. I started working with dancers, and by the way, does anybody here after 5 minutes of talking to me ever think you want to shoot with dancers? Anybody? Okay, do you know how you find dancers? This is my little cheat sheet, so remember this. You go to all the dance schools and you put up flyers. Don't make them creepy, because nobody wants to, nobody's gonna pull a name or a number off of a creep person, but you put a nice sheet up, you say, hey, do you want photos? Put a nice photo up, and you will find, this is a girl who was at not even Alvin Ailey at the time, and she ended up being a principal at Alvin Ailey. She's amazing, and she was one of my first subjects. I shot that in my living room. If anybody thinks they need a studio to shoot, you do not need a studio to shoot. I'm looking at you right now. You do not need a fancy studio to shoot, and you do not need fancy equipment. This was 2 lights, I think. I mean, I didn't even know how to light at that time. It's 2 lights, it's a girl, there's no makeup, there's no head. How do you get away with no hair and makeup? Don't shoot their head. See? Finding ways to get around what you've got. So I'm in a living room, I've got carpeting on the floor, I got 2 lights, I got a girl with a pink sock and some beautiful clothing, and I have an idea. Because again, we start with passion, right? I had passion for dance, except I was terrible at it. So how do you translate that? And you find a way to work around all of your variables and make this beautiful picture that is movement. Okay. Now, there's lots of shots in between this, from the beginning to the end. There was one pink shot moment. And this pink sock, I can't tell you how many times the shot has rerun and run again. Doesn't matter if it's your first picture. Sometimes, anybody heard that thing called the Perfect Polaroid? Okay, the Perfect Polaroid is something that used to happen when you shot Polaroid. Anybody ever shoot Polaroid film, right? When you were not, I don't mean now when you're like going like this, but actually as a precursor to your film shot. So you would set up everything, you'd shoot your Polaroid. I usually can get the perfect shot within the first 3 shots. It's not a good thing, because then everything else after that looks terrible and then the clients get annoyed. But that was the perfect moment. Go next. So here I am, I'm like, I really like dance, but I am so tired of girls in leotards, because leotards can only take you so far, right? And there's some very good dance photographers out there. And just about the time when I was finishing grad school, I knew that I didn't want to be just like somebody else, right? Because you can be a great copycat, but would you rather just be your own person? Okay? So I thought maybe I could transition dance into fashion. So I was using dancers, as you can see here, dancers, with fashion clothing. This happens to be Prada. And don't try this at home, because we broke every shoe. Do you see all these? She snapped this shoe, she snapped this shoe, they were breaking. Prada's like, we'll send more, we'll send more. It doesn't happen like that all the time. But again, this was on film, and I realized that besides the fact that this gave me a stomachache, can you try to picture what it takes to, there's no comping here, this is one shot, to coordinate this many dancers at once? Yeah, It's one shot. Listen, I pumped the color in some of the clothing, but there was never, this is before I got savvy with the Photoshop. All right, so, okay, let's make it more high end. All right, and this is a long time ago now, but I'm shooting dancers from New York City Ballet, right? Because everybody loves cachet, everybody loves famous dancers, and I'm putting them in mainstream fashion, okay? And it's really cool. Go next. And it's totally dynamic, and I'm using hair and makeup now. My mother used to call me and say, why do you always shoot everybody without their heads? What's wrong with the heads? Okay, well, it's hard to get dancers to look good on the face. Has anybody ever tried and they stick their tongue out, they make the funny expressions? It does happen. And we're shooting next. I'm shooting all this beautiful fashion, and the clothing is totally amazing. Go next. But I'm feeling like I want to break out because I know that I'm only going to be able to go so far with dance, right? Well, what is the logic step? Go next. Full fashion, okay? Go back one. There's really no difference from the moment that I found during a dance shoot, and go forward, and fashion. Do you see? And no less love for the point of view, no less passion during the photo shoot, just shift what I'm shooting. So is anybody shooting something right now that's not necessarily making money? Okay, but they love it. All right, what is it?
Shooting a series of the artists at work.
Artists at work. Okay, artists at work. What else? Beauty, okay, all right. What else? Something that's not necessarily making you money, but could potentially make you more money, or at least sustain a lifestyle of being a photographer. Anything else? What?
I shoot a lot for elements and composite them together.
Okay. Okay, all right. Well, nothing that you're doing right now means that you couldn't actually make a living doing it, but I think that the secret for me was to find something that actually was more acceptable in a wider range of possibilities, meaning more people would like it when they saw it. Because only certain people really like dance photography, but everybody likes fashion, right? And who doesn't love a gigantic dress, okay? And gesture, okay? Because the difference between kicking your leg up and the dress going flying and pulling on something or being active in some way, okay? There's no difference. Go next. All right, she's moving. My secret to fashion is not to pose a girl. God, that's so boring. Like, don't let the model model. Make the model be fluid. We just had the most amazing model in the studio. And, you know, she walks up and she's, you know, just like sitting there. And then all of a sudden, I'm looking through the lens and she's morphing from one body position to another. I actually thought that she had been a dancer. Did you see that? When she was, I mean, it was fluid. It was like dance, okay? And it was awesome. And I felt so inspired. And even though once upon a time I never thought that anything would ever turn me on as much as dance, movement with fashion is really remarkable. So keep going. Look at that. Fashion designers love to see the fabric come alive, okay? Now, she's not a professional dancer, but she certainly is a good model. Next. Right? Movement. It's not balletic, but it is certainly, it has dynamic range and it's got energy in it, okay? If you ask somebody to jump in heels and you're not willing to try it yourself, yes, sir, you have to put some heels on and jump, okay? No, but true. If you are not giving out energy into the universe of your shoot, do not expect it to come back, all right? Go next. And this is all about how the passion that you have is also infectious on shoot, okay? When you're on set and you are in love with what you're doing, even if you don't love what you're doing, if nobody can tell, everybody can tell when you hate your shoot. And there's a moment. Do you see that the moment that you saw with the big leg kick is not different from this sort of subtle movement? Go next. Okay, that's a big movement. I absolutely love black and white. Don't be afraid of black and white, especially in fashion. It's amazing. Go next. And there's nothing that is more fun than a well-placed fan, okay? Fan, and this doesn't say Cosmo cover. This doesn't say trashy, stupid. This says action and energy, jumping and moving. And okay, keep in mind, after about half a day of jumping in heels, anybody, ladies, you go to a wedding, you're dancing, you're on the floor. How long do you have until your feet kill and you want to sit down? Anyone? Now, if you've been having a couple cocktails or some glasses of wine, maybe you can go a little longer. Hopefully my model has not been drinking, okay? So do not require your model, save her energy, okay? Shin splints, ow. You know, especially a lot of these studios have concrete floors if you're jumping, so don't ask somebody to jump for that long. It's not nice. Be nice. Yes? Do you have a question? Oh, you were just making a really cool gesture. This is a very good question. How do you direct somebody who is either new, okay? Because if you decided tomorrow you wanted to go shoot fashion and you currently do not shoot fashion, you're probably going to be shooting people that are inexperienced, right? Okay? All right. So how do you tell somebody what to do when they don't know what to do? Has anybody ever tried it and gotten really frustrated? Teach them. Okay, see? Okay, so teaching them. Put some jewelry on them. Well, teaching somebody, communicating. Remember where I was talking about how do you get somebody energized on set? Well, how do you get somebody to do what you want them to do, even if they're a good model? You have to communicate, all right? So, and I don't know how many times you've probably seen me, like, sometimes I'll do it, okay? I'm gonna steal this chair. Everybody stand up. Stand up. All right, can you all see me? Sort of? Okay, sort of? All right. So if you are a photographer and you want somebody to move and they're not good, you have to do it for them. I'll actually shoot, put the camera down, and if I'm with somebody who doesn't know, or say we're doing something with hands, okay? What's the hand pose? This is terrible. This is a claw on your face and it's not selling anything. In fact, well, whatever it is, but you can show them what you mean. If you can demonstrate it, okay, and it's hard for me to move on the top of the chair. But you could too.
Not anymore.
You can do it. But to tell somebody how to be, either in a portrait, okay, it could be a portrait, a wedding picture, sports. Okay, you don't have a lot of control with sports. But to tell somebody, okay, you can all sit down now. To tell somebody how to move is very simple. All right, that's great, right there. All right, a little bit more. Put your hand up. Excellent. No, not like that. Like, oh, beautiful. All right, relax your fingers. Okay. Go like this. Ah. Make your face really big. Ah. Sometimes I make them totally do something silly to relax them. All right, turn around once. I'll tell the girl to turn around, hop up and down. Okay, take a deep breath, close your eyes. Okay, now back again. Just hit a moment. Good, good. All right, and I'll do it with her. You know, a lot of beauty photographers make the mistake of seating their model, and I used to seat my model all the time. Some models can't sit. Have you ever heard of some people, you say the girl can't flip, the model can't flip, meaning you can't flip horizontal in Photoshop? Some people can't sit. So when they're modeling seated, the energy is just totally down on the ground. You stand the girl up and suddenly you just crop in, she's got energy, right? She's got energy. Some people can't stand. Okay, well, that's a problem for you. But you just seat them. But finding out what, I could probably get down now. Finding out what the model can't do, it's not. Recently we were on set and somebody said to me, I'm so frustrated. It's just not going the way I want it to. Well, that's your problem. Because what is it about you that is not figuring out how to make it work, right? Okay? So your model can't move, figure out how to make her move, or if she really can't move, make the shoot be all about her static moment. Make it be about her awkward hands. Maybe the awkward hand is cool, but if you're fighting it because you want it to be fluid and graceful, well, sometimes, as my father likes to say, you can't teach a pig to sing. Why? Pigs can't sing, and it annoys the pig. Don't annoy the pig. Just move on. Figure out what it takes to make it work without it. Yes?
I've tried improv coming from somebody acting.
Okay.
I watched the records for it. But the thing is, like, I gave them a simple situation.
Okay.
Like, okay, you're fixing your hair in front of the mirror. Okay, how did you fix your hair?
Okay.
And then she couldn't even visualize how she fixed her hair in front of the mirror.
Guess what? You're the camera. Stand up. Stand up. You're the camera. Okay. You're the photographer. Okay. You're the assistant. Come here. You hold the mirror, right? You're the camera.
Okay.
She's the lens right here. Hold that. You're the photographer. Stand. You're talking the lens right there. Okay, wait. Don't move. Don't move. Okay. I'm the model. You put a mirror right next to the lens. That is, I do believe, an Avedonian. Did I just make him into another form of the word? That's Avedon's trick. You put a mirror. Now, she's looking slightly off, but maybe that's cool. And she's looking at herself. You say, play with your hair. Well, she's actually looking in the mirror, playing with her hair. So, okay, now you can all sit down. I'll take my mirror back. No, not unless, if you're careful. And maybe you might have to modify your light a little bit. It depends where your light's coming from. Okay? But that is one way to get the model. Or make her practice and then take the mirror away when you're done. Okay? Yes? Oh, my God. Music. A quiet studio is a depressed studio. Nobody wants that. Yes, find something to say. Exactly. Hi, my name is Sarah Silver. Nice to meet you. Where are you from? What do you like to do? Oh, you're 17 from Lithuania? Excellent. Do you have pets? Oh, what are the names of your pets? Doesn't matter. Because, listen, if you're really not interested, then maybe you're in the wrong job. Okay? Because if you truly don't care about your subject, especially with what I do, we're about people, okay? Exactly, but we're about human interaction. You find a common ground. Oh yeah, you like that band? Oh yeah, you like going out in the East Village? Oh yeah, you party all night. Okay, I don't have anything in common with you, but let's find something else. What do you like to do for, what do you like to do for fun? Because your subject just wants to know that they're safe and that you understand them, okay? Go next, okay? A little bit of hair movement goes a long way. Go next. Walking. Walking is a great way to get movement. Sir, your model who couldn't play with her hair, if she can't walk, then maybe you got bigger issues, right?
I thought I had something there, because I'd read about it. I thought I had something, because every woman makes up in front of the hair, and they do it. Okay, now what do you do with your hair? You're not satisfied with the way your hair looks, and I mean, couldn't believe it, because I know she does it.
Okay, well then, okay, good point though. Sometimes,
Pretend you're flirting with me.
Actually, there is something to say though, that if you are choosing your subject and you do not choose the right subject, it's because you weren't looking for the right things when you were choosing your subject. Casting is important, okay? I will say that. Go next. All right, so my point was, go back one, that all of this movement all came from my dance, and then 10 years later, I get called, go forward, and they asked me to do this with J. Mandel Clothing, back for Dance Magazine. See, it comes full circle. And the work that I do now with dance is so much more sophisticated than it was back then, because actually the fashion made it better. Isn't that strange? And because you have to learn something. But I never realized until last night when I was putting the slideshow together how different my dance had become because of my years of fashion now. And you don't know what's going to happen, which is my next point. Go next. Yes.
Do you ever find models who are dancers and models?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And you can, does anybody have relationships with modeling agencies? Maybe. You are allowed to say, who's got a dance background? I'd like to see them. And that's a good question. Who's also an actress? Ah, okay, because remember, who's not doing video? Anybody? All right, well, you will be doing video at some point. No, you won't. Okay, well, everybody but you will be doing video because you don't want to do it. But remember, if you don't like it, then don't do it, okay? Doctor, it hurts when I do this. Okay, then don't do this. All right, but besides that, you can say who's got it. If you need a model who's going to be an actress, don't book somebody who is not an actress. That also, because pigs don't sing. Like, don't annoy the pig. All right, so again, here I am, learning last night exactly how different my dance has become and how involved and influenced I am by other work of my own. One of the things that I wanted to talk about is my love of comping and tableaus. Does anybody not know how to use Photoshop? Okay, learn Photoshop. Who loves Photoshop? Okay, Photoshop is your friend. Why is Photoshop your friend? Photoshop, once upon a time, you used to present your contact sheets to the client. Okay, that was a really long time ago. But for the most part, you submit your selects, right? Or you show them what you want when you're working for money. And they choose the picture they want. But then who's in charge of the post-production? Does anybody not do their own retouching? Okay. Is that because you're paying somebody to retouch? Okay, because that's the next level. That's awesome. You need to know how to do your own retouching so you can tell your retoucher what to do. And I do it all myself on set, lightly, okay, not to the full extent, so that I can tell them what I like to do. And I love Photoshop. I mean, how much do I love Photoshop? I love Photoshop, okay? I'm obsessed with Photoshop. And one of the things that I love about Photoshop is the group tableau, okay? I like creating this mess of bodies telling a story from left to right, right to left, from the middle out. There's just so much going on. Go next. And wait, go back for a second. So doing it with Petronio, then go right, is the same as doing it for Vogue. Go next. Doing it for Vogue. Go next. Or doing it for Tyra, okay? And Tyra saw the work that I did for Vogue and saw the work that I did for the dance companies and said, I want to do the same thing. And I said, well, what do you want to do? She goes, well, I can stick my leg up in the air. And we created this entire tableau around the fact, and that is not retouched. She really does do that. And she totally renewed my excitement for the tableau. So I'm back thinking about what the next tableau is going to be. But I really enjoyed this comping. But it all came from the dance, right? And the whole subject of today is how to take what you really love and turn it into other forms of photography. Go next. And Tyra can move. I mean, here's a celebrity who's not afraid to fall in heels. Go next. Truly. Go next. Go next. Okay? Like, she's remarkable to work with. And, you know, I have no problem directing somebody who is, she was inspiring me more than anybody has ever inspired me. Go next. But, I mean, come on. She was jumping up in the middle of the air. This was an 85-shot day. She said, come on, Sarah. Next. I'm in. I'm in. What do you want next? What do you want next? That's good. Let's move on. Okay? She changed 85 times. There was like 70 hair changes. It was crazy. Okay? It is possible. I do not wish it on my worst enemy ever again. Don't do that. It's a long day. All right? I don't know why I put that in. I think I was inspired for a second. Go next. Oh, this is the tableau. I'm sorry. I'm out of order. Again, Donna Karen, DKNY, go back one. Matrix likes a tableau. I mean, these are all ways to kind of translate the idea. Go next. Now that I'm out of order, come back. Go next. Okay. Now, another concept is the silhouette. All right? Right? Okay. What do bodies do? What do dance bodies do? Thank you. And what do they do better than anything? They make beautiful shapes, and if you put them in silhouette, here's a fashion example. Go next. And this is an advertising example. When they came to me, go back one. When they came to me and asked me if I could do this for advertising, they loved the work that I'd done with this Vogue model, especially because I'd done it for dance so many times. So go forward. And the hair, right? But there's no, do you see how, you know, maybe when I started, it's not to say that I knew what the possibility was. I didn't know where it was going. But it makes sense, right, in hindsight? And my point is, when you think you love something, there's no reason why you can't end up shooting for Hawaiian Tropic. And I love this shoot. I told this model she was the most beautiful woman I never saw. Not, well, I mean, right? No, but she was literally the most beautiful woman I never saw. We shot her entirely in silhouette. I never saw her face. When she walked out of hair and makeup after the end of the shoot, and she had her hair down and she was wearing clothing again, I said, are you the same girl? Because you know. Beauty, okay? Go next. Fashion, right? Go next. So this dance company, yet again, has inspired me to do something different and inspiring and totally unexpected. Thank you, transferable. I like that. So maybe at this point, I'd like you all to stop and think, what do I love so much that I could just transfer into a different direction? Because it is possible. Go next. Go next. You've got movement hair, okay? Anybody have a trampoline at home? Anybody have a trampoline at home? Okay, that's not gonna work. Oh, you know what? A mattress might work. Well, you know those famous shots of the models falling? You can use a mattress for that. I don't want to be a part of your insurance, whatever it takes. So then what does that turn into? Okay, so they asked me to do the same thing for the Feria campaign. I never could have expected it, but I created a body of work that was consistent, that had beautiful, shiny hair, and who's obviously, I mean, it's not to say that, okay, A plus B does not equal C, but if you're good with movement and you're good with hair and you have a solid body of work, it is possible that then you get campaigns like this, right? Next. Next. Because it's the same, right? It all looks good. Go next. And then sometimes you get this moment that is so fantastic and you're on a shoot with clients and you can't repeat it. Okay? This is my sidebar comment. You will do things that are amazing. You will do things that are completely unexpected. You will have this shot which ended up running on the sides of trucks running through New York City, and you will be so proud of it, and they will ask you to do it twice or 3 times. And you know what? You cannot. You will never get the moment again. So what do you do if you're trying something that requires so many different parts? I mean, do you want me to break the shot down for you? Tell you what the girl was doing? Okay. All right. Here we go. My beautiful hair with the perfect color, all right? Hairdresser is right here on the ground. He's got a fan, all right? And it is at the perfect angle. The hair is completely brushed here, okay? But keep in mind that the perfect hair blown 5 or 6 times loses its curl, okay? So you've got 1 shot at this before you have to go back into hair for the next, what, hour, 2 hours, depending on how fast your hairdresser is. Okay, so model is here. Her hair is brushed. The hairdresser is here. I am talking to the model. I'm over there, right? That makes sense. And I'm telling her, all right, in a couple seconds, we were talking about communication, right? Communication. This requires, just like those big group shots of dancers that I was doing, you have to communicate. Do I look weird doing this? Okay, here we go. Hair is brushed forward. Hairdresser has to blow the hair at the right angle. Model has to arrive at the right time. I have to shoot it, and she has to have a beautiful look on her face and not turn too far. Okay, that sounds easy. Sure, okay, so hair down, hairdresser. Model turns, blows at the same moment, the hair flips. I shoot it before she gets around too far. Then they say do it 3 more times. I couldn't. And I gotta tell you, because you start to memorize what you did, you learn the system of the movement. Does that make sense? The system of the movement. Every movement has a system. If you're flipping a skirt, you kind of learn that there's a certain timing for everything, or the hair is flipping in a certain way. You can do it over and over again. But there was something about the perfect hair moment. The hairdresser actually, the fan fell forward at the same time. I can't explain it. It was kismet. And I could not do it again. 1. This was my mistake. There's no, I'm shooting high res, okay? So this isn't a Canon. This is a phase camera back on a Hasselblad. There's no burst. And there's no burst. I'm shooting high speed flash. There's 1 frame every, somebody want to tell me what do I have? The IQ 140 burst rate is? It's not fast, okay? There's 1 shot. And again, because the fan fell forward and I think the model tripped a little bit. I mean, it was the stupidest moment and it was genius. And then I couldn't do it again because 5 shots later, the hair was totally trashed. It was stringy, it looked bad, it had to go back and be brushed and recurled. So remember we were talking about the perfect Polaroid moment? Yeah? The other important thing to always remember, and I will look at you all in the eye as I say this. You looking at me? Is everybody looking at me? Don't shoot unless you mean it. Because that 1 shot, if you can't bring it back, like what if we tried it but she wasn't dressed right? What if we tried it but her lip wasn't done? What if we tried it but the hair hadn't been finished? What if we tried it but my background wasn't lit properly? Like, make sure your details are ready because there is a perfect moment and sometimes there's an accident to be found. Happy accident. Well, the unhappy accident was I couldn't do it again. And then, so what do? You all are new movement photographers, right? Well, no, not the computer, it's you. Ready? This is my lesson. I want everybody to remember something. every once in a while, you're going to do something that is so amazing and so of the moment, and it is going to be so perfect, and you have to know and trust in yourself to say to the client or whoever's behind you, I can't do it again. This is your only chance. So if you want something else, I can do it, but I will not be able to recreate this with her smiling more, or with her showing more face, or with her as a brunette. Whatever it is that you want to change, I can't do it. So unless you're going to Photoshop it, which is not okay in this particular case, I literally cannot do it again. But be confident that you know with all certainty to say that and mean it. Because they said, oh, okay, the photographer says she can't do it again. Okay, well, move on. That's okay. Because sometimes you can't. Go next. Here again is another year with the Stephen Petronio Company, shooting slow motion with shutter drag. And I love this, okay? So we worked on this whole shoot. Keep going. And we did these beautiful moments. And you go back one. You can really see the start to finish, right? This sort of amazing. I'll explain it later. But it definitely is a great thing for movement. You can see where he starts on the ground, right? And then he comes up, and you can see the entire trajectory of his legs going into second position. Wow, that was bad. Okay, second position. Go next. You can see how he's getting into the pas de chat, okay? Such a beautiful moment. So how do you translate that into something that actually also other people will like, except for just dancing people? Go next. Well, you incorporate it into beauty and fashion, okay? Go next. Go next. See how amazing the hair looks when it's on fire? Okay? And by the way, the secret to this is shiny things. Shiny things or light-colored things really bring out, I call them wooshies, okay? Wooshies. Go next. Go next. Wooshies? Wooshies everywhere? Wooshy, wooshy. And how do you make this kind of quiet moment more alive? With vibrating hair. Go next. Or here, because behind her are these gigantic fans for the hotel, okay? And you can hear them whirring behind you. And you get that feeling of a moment. It's all, nobody's sitting there with a fan. It's literally flying because of the exhaust behind her. It's kind of awesome. Where's that water? Okay, and because without that, it's a girl standing in front of a grate, and it was boring. Now it's a girl in front of a, I don't know what, doing something kind of cool, and it's got a feeling. Okay, but I learned how to do this because I wanted to make the dance more dynamic, and it turned into a perfect way to make the fashion come alive. Go next. Okay, how do you make her pants and the city behind her? Right, it's the shutter drag. It's kind of awesome. Go next. Okay, and then Swarovski called me and said, we really love what you've been doing with all the shutter drag and the wooshies. Can you do it for crystals? All right, now, can anybody tell me how I got that? But what were we doing? Can we break down the shot? Nope, those are crystals. Those are thousands of crystals being thrown over her head and then cracking all over the floor when they hit. It was, don't try that at home. It was really kind of dangerous. Now, how do we get the skirt to do that? Somebody tell me. All right, I'm the model. I'm standing here, okay? People are flinging pieces of glass in my face. Awesome. And I've got composure. I look happy, okay? What do I do with the skirt? Pick it up? Who's picking it up, though? I'm standing like this. All right. I got 3 people going like this at different angles, plus a fan hitting it to create this sort of varied effect. It's really, don't be afraid to have somebody up on a ladder, dropping it, okay? And a fan coming from behind and a fan coming from in front, and somebody else here going like this. Okay? It's got a moment, okay? And there's movement, and not that much is moving, because really, it's my camera moving, not her. I'm actually physically, okay, so how do you make circle wooshies? You go in a circle. How do you make linear wooshies? You go in a line. You want to make, you know, what is it? Charlie Brown has those little, what are they, like chevrons, okay? You go like this. That's how you do it. Go next. Go next. Okay? Totally cool, totally movement, totally came from my dance background. Nike called, they said, we really like your tableaus, Okay, we really like when you put all these shots together, but we also want the wooshies so that we get this feeling of motion. Okay, but we want the shoes to be sharp, and we want the body to be in the perfect position at every step of the way. Okay, like this. Okay, but this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 shots times 2 put together, comped by me. Okay, not anybody else. So do you have any idea how we did this? You want to know how we did it? Well, so we had, how do you get every moment in a stride? Nah. First of all, who's got a budget for seven high-res cameras? No, yeah. Okay. How? Uh-huh. Okay, but I need 7 flashes to recycle really fast. Really, okay, really fast. And wrong color. How? Because you're wrong. It's not right. Stroboscope. But I can't get 7 pops to go. It was such a pain in the butt. Couldn't do that. Well, how? There is continuous light to make the wooshies, but I still need flash to stop them in motion. How? Multiple exposure. Yeah, but then they're ghosting on top of each other and the shoes aren't sharp. So, this is how we did it. We did it the old-fashioned way. I went and I looked up Muybridge and I found his, right? Everybody know who Muybridge is? 1880s? Come on, does anybody have somebody gonna back me up here? Okay, not responsible for the wrong dates. You hear me on the video? I'm not responsible for the wrong dates. Famous photographer, experimental photographer in movement, used to paint, people would be in black outfits, right, with the white lines, so that they were checking the gait of horses and people, right, and he would shoot long jumpers and people running. So we printed them all out. We figured the 7 poses that we needed, okay, and then I would start the runner here, and I'd shoot it, and then I'd start him over again, and then I'd shoot it, okay, and I would, in my head, look at the pose from Muybridge and guess where he'd have to be in the gait. But this is rear curtain sync. So, is that right? Yep. It's popping after the shutter goes off, which means that I have to gauge a couple seconds before it's going to pop to capture that. And I don't have all day. Can you imagine how much of a brain meltdown I had on the shoot? And it's hot, because the hot lights are directly on me. I mean, literally, we're all half naked, sitting in the studio in shorts and a t-shirt going, is this over yet? Is this over yet? And because Nike wanted to be anatomically correct, that this would lead to this, would lead to this, would lead to this, right? Because it couldn't be out of sequence. So the answer to all of my questions that I just asked you was, we did it the old-fashioned way. We just shot it. I can't tell you how much fun I had doing this, but the last total mind melt that I had over this was that not only did it have to be in sequence, and not only did it have to look real and also have trails, but not trails on the shoes, but it had to fit the format of their windows. So I had to do the entire thing in the proportion of what their window display would have been so that it would actually fit. Because I could do 7 guys, but they had to be spread out so that it would fit the full window. Exactly. Okay, so, oh my God. I think I just got, my head hurts. Go next. I don't want to think about this anymore. Just do it, move on. All right, so again, a couple years later, and I'm shooting for this company again, right? And we're shooting water. Has anybody ever shot liquids? It's amazing. Anybody ever let their bathtub overflow? It's not amazing. It's not amazing because it ruins your floor and the apartment below. So we did this story, we did the shoot with them, and then I ruined the studio floor. And to this day, the studio floor is warped, and if you don't step right, you can really hurt yourself. So I literally mean don't try this at home. Don't try this at home. Go find a studio with a drain that is on concrete. Do not do this on wood. Go next. So we did this amazing shoot with water. We had lots of people helping. We enjoyed it immensely. What is the biggest pitfall of a water shoot that nobody ever thinks about? Hmm? Electrocution? Nah, who cares about electrocution? Worse than that. Okay, better question. Who is the most important person on a shoot besides yourself? You're not important at all. No? The model is the most important thing on the shoot, right? Because you lose your model, you lose your shoot. And what is the biggest problem with water? It's freezing. Hello? It's freezing. And if you've got people pouring buckets of water over you all day long, you're pissed. Okay, so it goes like this. We're in the studio, we have built a pond, and we have a kiddie pool that is circulating the water in and out of the kiddie pool so it won't be slippery, okay? We have a grippy floor, it's black leather pond liner, not black rubber pond liner. And we have people dumping buckets of water on the dancers, but we also have somebody on the stove pouring hot water into the water, okay? So they're boiling the water like mom, right? Sitting there going, pot's ready, pouring it into the water. And because if it's too hot, also nobody wants that, right? Okay, so this is a really, if you ever want to shoot water, call me and I will talk you through it because it is really getting enough hot water to sustain the whole day. No studio has a hot water heater that's going to be able to do that. All right, there are special effects companies that will come in with their own dedicated hot water heater. True. Okay, go next. So we did this huge story. It was incredibly successful. It cost me a lot of money, but I loved it, okay? Because sometimes you have to spend your own money to learn, okay? So that's what it takes. That's what it takes. Go next. Totally amazing, and these are not Photoshop. This is real. This is real time. I didn't add spikes of water coming from anywhere. This is exactly as we found it in camera. Go next. I mean, I thought this looked like this guy was levitating. It was totally crazy. And an Olay commercial. How great is that? It's totally cool. But I knew everything about keeping the water warm. And there you go, because I'm telling you, this girl was sitting in a kiddie pool, drenched with water, with a hose coming out of it, because originally the idea was that it was spritzing all over her. They ended up killing it. And she sat there freezing to death for 8 hours. Okay? Go next. And moving back again, I think full circle, is that years later, again, I get called to do another movement cover with a fantastic dancer who was supposed to be here today but is not. And my original dance, if we go back and look at it, is nothing like it is now because the passion that I have for my subject matter of fashion and beauty has really transferred itself back into the dance. So it's fresh again. Because if you do the same thing year in, year out, you're not growing. Okay? So when you find something that you love, like dance, and then you find things that you can use your dance skills with, fashion, beauty, hair, then it keeps everything. You really are growing much more than you ever thought you were. Anybody have any idea what's inside? Who asked me about my logo? Okay. Does anybody have any idea what's inside? Inside is a labor of love that is so extreme you have no idea. Are you ready? Okay. Once upon a time, I wanted to do a new book. I wanted to do a book that was different. I did not want black pages, you know, the black book with the plastic pages. And I really wanted something that was unique, okay? Because what makes us special is that we are unique, right? Unique product. So how do I take my unique photography and make it even more unique? Okay. I have a portfolio that is book-bound, okay? It's screened with the only fluorescent orange paint. It has a little tab here so that you can save your page. And it has an orange area. And it has acetates over pages strategically placed. Okay. It is also custom printed, double-sided on matte paper. And it is a real paint. But it looks really cool. Can everybody see? Hmm? Yeah.
It shows that you're serious about what you do.
Oh, thank you. This is kind of hard. And so, as long as they need to book me for the job. How about that? But see, I let my best friend do this design. Can you see that? Pick design elements because she knew the work to kind of create this dynamic way because it's boring to look through photos, right? It really is.
You might not have that sensibility.
Well, I knew we wanted acetates, but she helped pick the the actual designs. And coming up another acetate, right? I love Memphis furniture. Does anybody absolutely have any idea what that is? Big design movement in the 80s. And I said, they're called amoebas. Put the amoebas. Do you see it? I put it in my logo too, okay? Oh. I love fishnet, so we put it as a design element. And it goes on both sides, okay? And then obviously you can keep going through that, but in the back, what does every book have? A pocket. What goes in the pocket? Thank you. Oh my God, I loved her book. Yeah, I'll take one. Okay, so don't forget the pocket. And everybody remember this, do not put the pocket. House of Portfolios does a really great portfolio, but they give you two options, pocket here, pocket here. What happens when the pocket's on the side? The comp cards fall out. So always do the pocket like that, okay? Beautiful. You guys can all come up and take a look at this.
You choose matte because it's the preferred medium, or what?
I picked matte because I knew that this, okay, so do you guys see what a pain in the butt this is? Because it is a permanent edit. It is bound, right? You can't just swap the pictures out. You are stuck with this. So what happens when lots of people are eating donuts in the morning and coffee and then touching fingerprints? So I chose matte because I thought it would be more rugged and not get disgusting fast. Well, I did many of them. But as you can see, I also did custom bags that are really bright inside. Oh, so okay, so I open it up and you're like, oh, cool, neon orange. But literally, if everybody else's book is black on black on the inside of their bag, because it is guaranteed that when you have a book, you have to have a bag, right? I mean, how else are you going to get it around? So they open up the bag and they're like, oh, cool, neon orange. Nobody else did that. Okay, until everybody else decides to do that. But custom as well. But I'm telling you, every time I open it up, the first thing people say is, oh my God, that's bright. And then they say, wow, I'm orange. But it gets people's attention. Sarah, yeah. So, you know, but it's okay in business that you're branding yourself. Okay, we've had a lot of conversations about branding recently because branding is very important. All right, who are you and what are you? Who are you and what is your place in the universe? Well, no, I do not. I have these crazy custom printed, very thick, cannot, you know, unless you've got a big gap in your teeth. You're right, exactly. No, I don't think Grace, her gap's not big enough. And I use neon, and it's all the same, okay? And they're thick, and they don't fit in anybody's wallet, and they're very annoying, and then you can only carry like 6 of them because otherwise your pocket is bulging. So, but having a complete look, because I mean, I think at this point, everybody's got a website, right? Does everybody have a website? Does everybody have a business card? Okay, people like to be left with something, all right? And my current studio manager sent me a package so well branded with little things that we open this box and it says, you need Troy. And then it was a plastic package of little soldiers. Have you ever seen this thing? Plastic package of little soldiers that say, Troy is your, like, choose Troy, not war. Choose Troy, not war, okay? And then there was something else that said, like, you won't have any more problems if Troy's here. I mean, it was amazing. But, you know, people really remember the thought that you put into it.
I just want your pictures are so beautiful that if you had torn paper, I don't think it would make a
Oh,
difference.
yeah, but it would be the look I was going for. The torn paper, right?
Really?
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, I think more than anything, and that's a really great segue, and you're making me blush, but I love what I do, and I love waking up every morning. I love talking to people about how much I love what I do, like it's going to make me cry. I wake up every morning, and I'm excited to shoot, and I wake up every morning, I'm excited to do my own billing. I wake up every morning, and I love my crew. I've had the same people working with me for 10 years. I love the family that I create, the hair and makeup. I love the models that I work with. I have relationships with so many of the people that come and go because we're people, okay? I have a stock company, Trunk Archive. They're fantastic, yep. And I have an amazing agent I've had forever. And it's you know, everybody you work with is part of your team. And every part of what's gone into who I am right now is because people have come in and collaborated with me and given me the chance. Because, you know, how do you do this, okay? How do you go from shooting to shooting? It's not easy. You have to take a leap of faith.
Do you
Right? I have an agent. I do. But I do a lot of my own marketing. I mean, I have those things printed 3 times a year, 4 times a year. You have to do a lot of the work yourself, even if you have a team behind you, because they have to sell you, not something. It's you. You know, photographers, what is the difference between you and somebody else? A lot of times it's not the work, it's your personality. They're going to hire you because they want to be in with you in the studio for 8 hours, 9 hours, 10, 12 hours sometimes. They want to spend a couple days with you, not because you're boring and they don't want to be around you, you know? Okay, and you're talented and you've got the look that they want, but truly, you know, if there's 2 people that are pretty good and one person is really boring, I think you'd rather be with the fun person. Hope.
For more information, please visit us online, give us a call, or stop by our New York City Superstore. You can also connect with us on the web.